I think everyone's coming in with a level of focus every day, just right now knowing that, we do have a target on our backs and making sure that we're locked in on everything we're doing in practice. But I think we're taking that energy that we have, that fun, that lightheartedness into practice, because at the end of the day, this is a game. We want to have fun, and I think we play our best basketball when we're playing free and having fun and being joyful and playing together.
The back-to-back champions strode into Indianapolis expecting a routine midsummer tune-up. 95 minutes later, they staggered out nursing the worst defeat of their dynasty era, and a question no one dared whisper until now. Did the Las Vegas Aces' aura just shatter? Because on July 3, 2025, the Indiana Fever, down their box office rookie Caitlin Clark and lugging a 16-game losing streak to Vegas, didn't merely sneak a win. They body-slammed the champs 81-54, held them to the franchise's lowest shooting mark ever, and rewrote a power chart the league thought was inked in stone. A sellout crowd felt it from the opening tap. Indiana burst ahead 6-0. Kelsey Mitchell drilled a step-back three, and 16-509 fans turned Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a cauldron.
Indiana has not beaten Las Vegas since the 2019 season. It's a power. The Commissioner's Cup MVP has us on the ball. Here is Boston right up the middle, untouched.
Drive, gives it to the roller, Howard, and she scores from the middle of the paint. Timeout, Becky Hammond.
Couple of Gamecocks going head-to-head. I mean, there's some physicality right there.
We're really disciplined to the details, and we're playing with a high effort.
Viewers scrolling social feeds saw the first quarter score, 21-4, and typed one uneasy phrase. Uh-oh. This isn't a fluke. For 2 seasons, the Aces marketed themselves as a juggernaut nobody wants to face. Indiana just reduced that slogan to confetti. The Fever's 81-54 demolition snapped 16 straight losses to Vegas, ended a drought dating back to 2019, and, maybe most stunning, arrived minus the injured Clark, whose sprained ankle kept her in street clothes for the 4th consecutive game. Las Vegas, owners of consecutive banners in 2022 and 2023, entered the night 8-8 and clinging to relevance after an off-season gamble that shipped Kelsey Plum to Seattle for veteran scorer Jewel Lloyd plus draft capital that still hasn't gelled.
And Aja Whistle Wilson, my God, you see how many free throws that lady have? Oh my God, on the stat sheet she had basically 30 points, but all the free throws this woman got, man, they tried their best to keep the Aces in the game, man, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter, man. They destroyed the Aces. About freaking time the Fever finally beats the Aces, man, and without Caitlin Clark.
Coach Becky Hammond warned pregame about effort lapses. Postgame, she called the performance one of the worst I've ever seen, a soundbite that trended within minutes. From the opening horn, the champs looked several beats slow. Indiana sank 53% in the first quarter, bludgeoned the Aces 16-4 in the paint, and forced 3 early Vegas turnovers that sent Hammond stalking the sideline. Aaliyah Boston carved space against the usually imposing Aja Wilson, and Natasha Howard hammered any loose ball like it owed her money. The mood in the building shifted from maybe tonight to they can't miss before 10 minutes were gone.
But this was a big win for the Fever because the Aces were the only team that they had not won at least one game to last season, meaning the Aces swept the Fever last season. They actually haven't won a game against the Aces in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark. This team is crazy. They are beating the #1 team in the league first, and then they go and beat the Aces, who they haven't won to in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark, which is just a testament to how this team is finally developing a rhythm.
But the highlight that would ignite every timeline hadn't even happened. Early third quarter. Lexie Hull, hustler-in-chief for Indiana, boxed out Wilson with textbook posture. Hips low, elbows wide, feet planted like a statue. Wilson, desperate for a spark, reached over Hull's shoulders, clamped onto the ball, and yanked. 99 times in 100, that's a whistle. Side-out fever. This time, referees signaled jump ball. Gainbridge erupted in disbelief. ESPN analysts choked on their superlatives, and within 30 seconds the play was clipped, gifted, and labeled Aja's special whistle.
It's a foul. It's a third.
Lexie Hall, tremendous three and two. Leads the league at 50% shooting the three, draws the charge.
The call did more than trend. It poured gasoline on a league-wide officiating fire. Just 6 days earlier, Chicago rookie Angel Reese scorched part-time refs for diabolical inconsistency. Echoing complaints from Cheryl Reeve, Nafisa Collier, and Sydney Johnson that freelancers toggling between NCAA and pro schedules were harming credibility. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's bland assurance that training initiatives are ongoing suddenly rang hollow after millions watched Hull's masterclass in box-out technique morph into a 50-50 toss-up. Here's the plot twist. Instead of sulking, the Fever weaponized the snub.
It up, shot won't fall. Wilson, what looks like over the back. Well,
Oh boy.
Jump ball is the call.
Wow. Stephanie White's upset about that. I thought that was over the back. Wow. Watch this. That's a jump ball?
Over the next 6 possessions, they ripped off a 10-2 counterpunch, forced 3 Vegas turnovers, and ballooned the margin past 20. Fans who expected the officiating break to spark an Aces rally blinked and realized it had become the moment Indiana hit the accelerator. Rewind to the period that really buried Vegas. Midway through the second quarter, Boston caught the ball at the elbow, pump-faked Wilson into the ether, and waltzed to the rim untouched. That bucket capped a 13-4 run during which Indiana shot a video game like 82%. The Aces, meanwhile, clanked jumpers at a 24% clip, misfiring on 4 straight open threes.
The Indiana Fever just beat the Aces. The first win for the Indiana Fever against the Las Vegas Aces since I was 22 years old.
By intermission, the scoreboard blared 46-24. Fever. A 22-point gulf felt even wider because Vegas's body language looked defeated. Shoulders slumped, heads sagged, and nobody dared meet Hammond's glare as she stormed to the tunnel. Dig into the stat sheet and the dominance turns clinical. Points in the paint? Indiana 28-10 by halftime. Rebounds? Fever 23. Aces 12. Assists? Indiana doubled Vegas 12-6. Proof the ball never stuck.
Is there just kind of a sense maybe in the locker room that like some of the success you've had over the last week could prove to be your big breakthrough or kind of maybe a turning point for you guys for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all feeling good. I think the energy's high. Really good win in Minnesota. Had a chance to celebrate together. I think that only helps our chemistry. You know, all that stuff off the court definitely fuels us. We're having fun with each other. We're having fun together playing. So I think it is. I think this is a good moment for us. And, you know, especially we're playing without one of our best players. So to do that in those circumstances, we're really just proud of ourselves.
Hammond's halftime speech reportedly centered on pride and professionalism. But whatever sparks she tried to strike fizzled moments into the third. Wilson did her part. She poured in 29 on 9 for 18 and lived at the stripe, 11 of 13. On paper, that's dominance. On the floor, it resembled a solo recital in an empty hall. Why empty? Because the rest of the roster combined for 7 field goals on 43 attempts, an appalling 16%, and no teammate cracked 6 points. The worst offender was Chelsea Gray. Once praised as the point god, Gray finished with 2 points, 2 assists, 5 turnovers. Fan pages that had insisted she was already better than Clark went radio silent. Jewel Lloyd chipped in 4 points on 1 for 9. Kaya Stokes missed all 5 looks inside 3 feet. When your MVP needs oxygen and her co-stars hand her anvils, even 29 points can't plug a 27-point crater. Vegas's offensive malaise isn't a one-night anomaly. Their offensive rating ranks 9th league-wide after sitting top 2 4 straight seasons. Blame can scatter across new pieces still blending, snatched draft picks that robbed depth, and a locker room reportedly split over Plum's departure. Whatever the root cause, the result is visible. The Empire's foundation is wobbling. Indiana, by contrast, looked welded together. Mitchell embraced alpha duties with Clark sidelined, exploding for 25 points, 6 dimes, and 2 steals. Boston delivered a near-perfect 8 for 10 night, her footwork slicing Vegas rotations. Howard posted an 11-point, 10-rebound double-double and looked every bit the Commissioner's Cup MVP she'd lifted 12 days earlier. Defense? Suffocating. The Fever forced 17 turnovers, clogged every driving lane, and held Vegas to 26% overall, the worst single-game rate in franchise history and the lowest any WNBA team has shot all year. Rookie Michaela Timpson's weak-side help drew audible gasps. 2 volleyball spike blocks in 42 seconds triggered a Timpson SWAT board graphic on the Jumbotron. Throughout the barrage, Clark served as sideline maestro. Cameras caught her diagramming closeouts on a clipboard, chest-bumping teammates, and detonating into mid-air fist pumps after Mitchell's back-breaking threes. Leadership without laces isn't quantifiable, but several Fever vets said later they felt her presence every trip. Back to that viral jump ball. Overnight, the clip racked up 4 million views, #special-whistle and #fulltime. Refs trended, and pundits revived a years-old debate. Can a billion-dollar league still rely on part-time referees? Washington Post columnist Ava Kelly skewered the arrangement as poverty optics, mere days after the WNBA inked a $2.2 billion media deal. Sports Illustrated framed the controversy as bigger than Caitlin Clark, noting that stars from Brianna Stewart to Dearica Hamby have publicly questioned calls this season. Angel Reese joined the chorus 48 hours later, torching refs as diabolical after Chicago attempted just 8 free throws to Minnesota's 17 in a narrow defeat. She told reporters, "I don't give a DMN if I get fined. Fix it." The league office promised to review training protocols, a phrase fans mocked as corporate Mad Libs. The Hull-Wilson jump ball instantly became Exhibit A in highlight reels lobbying for a full-time, transparently graded officiating staff. Indiana's reaction? Shrug and keep rolling. After the jump ball rulings, they ripped off 12 unanswered points, ratcheted defensive pressure, and never let the lead shrink below 19 again. Beyond one ugly night, the Aces face existential questions. At 8 and 9, they sit 8th in the overall standings, a far cry from the juggernaut that once blitzed opponents by 20 before halftime warm-ups ended. Their cap sheet is top-heavy. Their 2026 and 2027 first-rounders reside in Seattle thanks to the Plum trade, and insiders whisper that GM Natalie Williams is calling on every front office for rim protection help. Targets include Atlanta's Cheyenne Parker and Dallas gunner Arike Ogunbowale, but the math is tricky and the clock is merciless. Meanwhile, Aja Wilson's patience tick-tocks. She's publicly loyal, but privately, friends told SB Nation she wants a roadmap, not promises. Vegas either patches these leaks by the July 17th trade deadline or risks something deeper than a slump, the defection of its cornerstone. Hammond's post-game presser, where she ripped professionalism and hinted at changes coming, fueled speculation of a rotation shakeup featuring more minutes for rookie guard Aaliyah Moore and less leash for struggling vets. Whether lineup tweaks can mend cohesion remains the summer's hottest subplot. Indiana's outlook tilts the opposite way. Since hoisting the Commissioner's Cup on June 21st, they've gone 5-1, own the league's third-best defensive rating, and rank first in deflections per game. Coaches attribute the surge to a defense-first contract inked in their film room. Every missed rotation costs a cupcake fine to the team dinner fund. The result? 5 woman shells that move on a string. Clark's return is pegged for July 19th at Washington. Insiders say she cleared 2-foot lateral slides in practice and is itching to launch logo bombs again. Add her 7.3 assists and gravity to a group already humming, and playoff ceilings get glass shattering. Circle. July 24th. Fever Aces Round 2 in Las Vegas. Ticket resale sites report prices soaring 80% since the blowout. Indiana wants to prove the thrashing wasn't home court lightning. Vegas, bruised and doubted, needs revenge like oxygen. The subplot: Aja and Clark have yet to share a court this season due to staggered injuries. The league is itching for that star power collision. If Indiana torched the champs without Clark, imagine the fireworks when number 22 checks back in. One July night, a so-called bottom feeder missing its rookie phenom pulverized the reigning Titans, exposed systemic officiating angst, and flung open a race many assumed finished. The final ledger is burned into memory. Indiana 81, Las Vegas 54. Wilson's fleeting 29 became empty calories. Mitchell, Boston, and a snarling defense feasted all evening. Vegas's dynasty shtick? Under renovation. Indiana's rebuild? Ahead of schedule and carrying a sledgehammer. The bigger takeaway echoes past the box score. Chemistry beats pedigree, depth beats hype, and connected defense beats everything. The balance of power just tilted, and the tremors show no sign of quieting. Keep your notifications on, because the next time these two share hardwood, crowns, and narratives may change hands for good.